Although my family is Christian, I am not a devout Christian. I went to church a few times with my family when I was very young. I, like many kids, found church to be a very boring place. I went to church no more than 10 times. This experience happened when I was 18 years old, just after I graduated from high school. One day at noon, my grandmother and I were the only ones home. After lunch, I told my grandmother, I want to go lie down for a while. I had been lying down for less than 10 minutes when I fell into a deep sleep. Suddenly, everything went dark. Then I saw a bright light, which was very bright. Some people will challenge me and say, when you sleep, it is dark in front of you. What happened next was just a dream. But I can assure you, the feeling was completely different. I was very awake. My soul left my body. I can't say that it left completely, half of my soul was outside and the other half was still connected to my body. There were many other souls around me. Although I couldn't see them, I could feel them. We were lining up to go to an unknown place. We were surrounded by many angels escorting us. The angels were singing beautiful songs as they walked. The light was getting closer and closer to me. I felt someone in the distance calling me. After walking out of the tunnel, a majestic building appeared in front of me. The souls around me all passed through a gate and then entered that building. The moment they passed through the gate, they all put on white robes. I knew what this meant. As soon as I passed through that gate, I had to say goodbye to my old life. I didn't enter that door right away. I was curious about the place. The place was filled with flowers of all colors, with a faint white light shining around the petals. It was so pure to look at. I felt love here, just like coming home. The sky was a blue color that I had not seen before. I was admiring the scenery when a man suddenly appeared. I realized, I knew that face. Oh God, it was my grandfather, who passed away 14 years ago. Grandfather was younger than I remembered. Then I also saw my uncle, who died before I was born, but I knew it was him. There were also people who had recently passed away who were there. They welcomed me with open arms. Here, I don't feel the presence of time, and I don't know how long we talked about it. Grandfather said to me, "You just have to walk through that door and you will be with us forever." I hesitated, and I said to my grandfather, "I don't want to stay here yet. I'm only 18 years old now and my life is just beginning. I still have a lot to experience and my greatest wish is to be able to travel around the world. I haven't experienced what it's like to be a father. I have a girlfriend now and I don't want to leave my girlfriend." My grandfather is very understanding of my choice. Finally, he reminded me that people face a lot of challenges in their lives, and I hope I can always keep a positive mindset. Suddenly, everything went black again and I felt myself being pulled back into my body. I jumped straight out of bed and ran to the kitchen to check the time. I felt like a long time had passed, but it was only about 5 minutes. It was a long time ago, so I can't remember the exact time. I was very confused. Why would something like this happen? I was only 18 years old and I was in perfect health. I was thinking that maybe it was sending me some kind of message. Confirmation that my beliefs were correct. That heaven was indeed real. After this happened, I only told my girlfriend. After hearing the first story, do you believe that people really go to heaven when they die? Feel free to tell me in the comment section. The second story is from a 51-year-old man. He said he saw an angel when he was a child. A few years later, the angel found him again and taught him a lot about the universe. It also taught him some special skills. In the process of learning, came to other planets. Let's start the second story of the day. This experience happened when I was 13 years old. Although 35 years have passed. But I can still remember many details. Because this experience changed my life. I tried to tell the people around me, but no one believed me. Finally, I chose to remain silent. It was a hot summer day. A new public swimming pool had opened near my house. My cousin was in charge of it, so I went almost every day. Every time I went swimming, my cousin would remind me that you don't know how to swim, so don't go to the deep end. One day, I went to the swimming pool after breakfast. There were very few people in the pool at that time. I especially wanted to go to the deep water to experience. The deep water area is not very large. I think it is not so dangerous. When I arrived at the deep water area, I started to sink rapidly. The more I struggled, the faster I sank. I wanted to scream for help, but as soon as I opened my mouth, the water flowed into it. I regret not listening to my cousin. I knew that I would die here today. I gave up struggling. I began to slowly lose consciousness. Suddenly, something surprising happened. My mind became quick and I felt like I was waking up from a sleep. It all happened so quickly. I felt myself flying through a long, dark pipe. The tube was soft and safe. At the end of the pipe, I could see a bright light. The next thing I knew, I was outside the tube. I was floating above the pool and I couldn't feel my weight. It was a hot summer day, but now I felt very cool all over. I felt very happy. My body was lying at the bottom of the pool. People around me came running and pulled me out of the water. A young man also ran over. I think he was a lifeguard. He started to give me artificial respiration. I could feel his inner thoughts at that time. He blamed himself very much for not finding me in time. I shouted from above, I'm fine, I'm up here. But no one looked at me. After a while, I felt a powerful energy around me. I could feel his immensity, but I wasn't scared at all. He was more like an elder who was very kind to me. He radiated a dazzling light. Then, in a loving voice, he commanded, "You must go back, your time is not up yet. There is much work for you to complete. You will return here again in due time." I refused very decisively. I wanted to stay there. I liked the feeling of floating. Suddenly, he became serious. "You must go back." I saw that the lifeguards were still trying to resuscitate me. I knew that if I didn't go back, the lifeguard would probably blame himself for the rest of his life. And my cousin. I didn't want my parents blaming him. The next thing I knew, I was back in my body. I was taken by ambulance to the nearest hospital. I always remembered the words of the angel. "You will be back here again in due time." I felt it was a promise. For the next 5 years, I would often pray at night. I asked God to help me and guide me on how to get back there again. I longed for that experience of freedom. But my prayers were not answered. Then I went to high school. One cold winter day, a classmate invited me to a party of his friends. I declined his invitation. I was too tired and I just wanted to rest for a while. I was getting ready to sleep. Suddenly, I noticed that the color in the room was changing. I opened my eyes wide and witnessed this strange phenomenon. The light became brighter and brighter. My heart was beating fast. I felt an intense love. I knew he was the angel I had last seen, and the feeling was all too familiar. The angel looked at me. "Are you here to take me away?" I asked him. "No, it's not your time yet. You have a lot of work to do here." "I came here to fulfill your dream," he said. "I will teach you how to control your body." Next, he guided me step by step. Before we started, we did a lot of preparation. He told me to give him my hand. I soon realized that this was not my old hand. It was separate from my body. Suddenly, I was completely detached from my body. My mind became agile and I couldn't feel my own weight. It was exactly the same feeling I had as a child. I knew that I could not tell anyone about this incident. Although I got better grades in school. But if they knew about it, they would definitely kick me out of school. Besides that, I learned a lot about the universe. I don't need words to communicate with angels. We can communicate through telepathy. I could know the answer immediately when I had a question. I asked the angels a few questions. Is there life on other planets? I think that you know the answer to that question. If you don't know, then the answer is yes. We are not alone. And there is plenty of it. I asked the angel, can I go to a more evolved planet? In a flash, I was on another planet. In their cities, there were buildings without windows or doors. It was like a container, but much bigger than a container. They used a special method to get into these buildings. Somehow, I could communicate with them normally. I was able to understand the meaning of every word. They asked me where I came from. They saw the earth in my mind's eye. They also asked me, what do you like to do on earth? I told them, I like to ski in winter. They showed a puzzled expression on their faces. I guess it should be that they don't have winter here, so it doesn't snow. They also asked me where I get my energy from. I told them, the plants I eat on earth. Then they said, are you also eating things that are alive? I said yes. They acted surprised. I asked them, where do you get your energy to survive? They said, we get it from the universe just like you do. But we get it directly, but not like you do. I also asked, do you sometimes travel to other worlds? He answered, yes. In terms of stature, they are shorter than humans and walk more slowly than we do. The bodies are all more proportionate and not obese. And they had no hair. They have a strange uniform that blends in with their skin as if it were part of it. A lot of the learning has gone beyond my perception.